We understand that there's nothing too different about these people. They are just the same as us. So they are just ordinary, They are poor white people who are homeless, white people who stand in robots and request 2 rands. They are just the same as us, They're just the same as us. So that is why I'm saying it's something that does not concern me that much. And I think many young people would agree with me, Woody. We do not look at white people the same way like the older generation, So even those white people who think they are not ordinary, most of them are the older white people. But if you can look at the young generation of white people, most of them, they don't think they are superior to us as black people. I mean, when I was in varsity, I was attending classes with white people, so I know their attitudes. The white people in our age groups, the 23-year-olds, the 24-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, the 21-year-olds, those people, I know their attitudes. Most of them don't think they are superior to us. They are just like us. They laugh, they speak to you as if there's nothing to, But if you can look at the older generation, those are the ones with the big problem.
AfriForum is struggling with the reality of being ordinary. Because the new South Africa requires all of us to be ordinary. Whereas colonialism and apartheid made white people special people. And Justice Cameron writes in one of his articles about how he was lost among whites because he was from a poor family and his father was in jail. But the one thing that gave him solace was that at least he wasn't black. And I think ordinary white people find solace in the fact that they were not black. Now that in the new South Africa, they're ordinary. I think some white people, and AfriForum in particular, is seeking to reverse the wheel and find some reason to be special again. And they seem to have found an ally in the American president. And clearly, that is neither compatible with social justice nor compatible with human rights, as we celebrate Human Rights Month in South Africa, which is resonant with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that requires everyone to be treated as an equal. But people, such as those in the AfriForum, have to accept that under the new constitutional order, we're all ordinary. And we all have the same rights.
As much as I would love to deny it, but everything that this lady is saying is the truth. It's really the truth. You can't live in South Africa and not know that white people here in South Africa have a problem with being ordinary. I mean, that's no secret. And if it's something that you've never noticed, then I don't know which rock you've been living under. But I can tell you that white people here in South Africa have a very big problem with being ordinary. And sometimes I don't blame them for being like this. Because if you look at it, especially if you look at our grandmothers, let me make an example of like our grandmothers, when they speak, I don't know whether you pay attention or not, but I pay attention to conversations. I pay attention to the things that people say. Whenever I'm in public, maybe I'm on an ATM, it's not that I'm eavesdropping, but then what can I do when people are speaking? They are, I'm just that type of person. I love to observe people, how they do things. I'm just interested in human nature, So if you can pay attention to the way that our grandmothers and our grandfathers speak about white people, even them, they don't consider them as ordinary people. And that's a very, very big problem. And I've noticed this thing from a very, very young age. And I've always said, I don't understand why my grandfather is speaking like this about these people. Like it's as if they don't consider them as ordinary people like us as black people. That is why I say sometimes I don't blame white people for this thing. Because even our black older generation, this is the way that they treat them. And if this is the way that they treat them, that is why they act like this. That is why they have a problem of being ordinary. But then again, we can twist it and say it's their fault because they are the ones that indoctrinated that older generation into making them think that they are superior than them. So that thing is embedded deep within their psyche. They cannot let it go. So even now, when we are living in a very different country, they still look at white people as if they are not ordinary people. They are different. They are a superior being than us as South Africans. You know, pay attention to the older generation when they speak. When they speak about white people, you can hear with okay, they are still angry about the things that they did to them, but the way they look at them, the way they speak about them, they speak about them as if it's people who have everything. It's people who are born wealthy. It's people who don't suffer in life. It's people like umlungu. You get that whole attitude. It's very concerning. It's very concerning. And that whole treatment that the older generation gave white people, they are still giving them even today. Well, they understand that white people are no longer in power in South Africa. We have freedom and things like that. They can understand that. But that thing is deep within their psyche. Even today, when they come across a white person, it's as if they are coming across a god or something. They treat them differently. You know, they are not like us, because me, when I see a white person, it doesn't matter where you are. I speak to you like any random person. Whether I'm speaking to a black person, I'm speaking to an Indian, I speak to everyone the same way. So when I approach a white person, I don't see a difference between me and that person. We are just, I'm black, he's white. Nothing too significant. I've been like that and I'm like that. But then I noticed the older generation, that's not the approach that they have. You know, whenever a person has to engage with a white person, it's like they calm down, you know. You can see this thing in work, even in workplaces, Like, pay attention to the way black people treat their white bosses and pay attention to the way black people treat their black bosses. There's a significant difference. a very, very big difference. When they are speaking to the white bosses, they, you know, like, I don't know, even the language, you know, like, but then when they are speaking to the black bosses, like, you know, like, you can speak like you are speaking to a normal human being. What? So that is why I'm saying that everything that lady is saying there is the truth. And this whole thing, the treatment that the older generation has been giving the white people, led them to believe also this delusion that maybe they are not ordinary. They are not ordinary people. You can see it in the way they move when they are within black people. With these people think they are superior to us or something. But then it's something that is slowly dying. So it's not something that I'm really too concerned about. I just think it's interesting. That is why I said, let me bring it to your attention, because I agree with what she's saying, because I've seen it. I always see it every day. But it's not something that concerns me. You know, it doesn't concern me that much, because it's dying down, you know, it's dying down. Us now, the new generation, we understand that there's nothing too different about these people. They are just the same as us. So they are just ordinary, you know. They are poor white people who are homeless, white people who stand in robots and request 2 rands. They are just the same as us, you know. They are just the same as us. So that is why I'm saying it's something that does not concern me that much. And I think many young people would agree with me, Woody. We do not look at white people the same way like the older generation, you know. So even those white people who think they are not ordinary, most of them are the older white people. But if you can look at the young generation of white people, they don't think, most of them, they don't think they are superior to us as black people. I mean, when I was in varsity, I was attending classes with white people, so I know their attitudes. The white people in our age groups, the 23-year-olds, the 24-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, the 21-year-olds, those people, I know their attitudes. Most of them don't think they are superior to us. They are just like us. They laugh, they speak to you as if there's nothing to, you know. But if you can look at the older generation, those are the ones with the big problem, you know. That is why I'm saying it doesn't concern me that much, because at least the new generation, most of them don't have that attitude. So tell me on the comment section down below, what do you think about this whole thing, because I think it's very, very interesting. But I would appreciate to hear your own personal opinion. But if you just enjoyed this video or you learned something new, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. My name is Emmanuel and this is Mzansi Versity, the place where we transform lives through knowledge and information. Let's meet again on another video.